one game away. Blow up. We're playing for something, man. We're playing for something. It's gotta mean something to you. It gotta mean something. Everything you got. Everything you got. Let's finish this.
Do it, fellas.
Let's go.
Let's do it, fellas.
Finish 2-3. 1, 2, 3. Finish.
Yep.
The mind controls everything.
Yep.
And right now, and I said it at the time, Skip, we can get through a lot of things if we know we got support. He didn't get the support that he needed in Philly. He needed Doc to back him. He needed Joel Embiid to back him. It would have been nice if the fans backed him, but the fans are going to be fans. I don't have a problem with the fans. But within that locker room, Skip, he needed that support. And when he didn't get it, Skip, I say, Skip, it's over. I can read his body language and how he was and how he is. And he knows, Skip, he feels that he let his team down. And he's going to have to compartmentalize because there's a lot of people that go through things. Skip, you and I, hey, everybody sees you and I debating and everything is hunky-dory. Skip, no, there's a lot of, you don't know a lot of times that Shannon Sharp go home and because he compartmentalized things going through something. Went through a breakup about 16 months ago, Skip. Man, it's wearing on me.
This is news to me.
Yeah, I know it, Skip. It's news to a lot of people. But as I told her, the mind replays what the heart can't delete.
Yep.
And right now, Ben Simmons' mind can't delete. It replays over and over Atlanta. That layup, Skip, not taking the shot, it broke his heart.
It did.
That those guys wouldn't support it.
You know, I was thinking the other day, there's going to come a time in my life where I got more money than I could ever imagine having. And I'm going to be able to use it on something like very foolish, right? And I'm telling you right now, I've been thinking about this. I'm going to make a purchase where motherfuckers who got nothing to do with the money that I made, who didn't, put in this work that I had to put in to get to where I'm eventually get to, I'm going to make a purchase. And I ain't talking about a car, no jewelry, nothing like that. I don't even wear jewelry. I'm never going to purchase jewelry. Not going to purchase a watch. I don't wear watches. I'm never going to get into that. I'm not into cars. I'm going to buy a statue one day. And it's going to be a purchase. It's going to be sitting in my house. And it's going to be a purchase that motherfuckers on Twitter and social media, whatever social media is big at the time, motherfuckers going to be like, yo, this dude just wasted that money on that. He could have fed children with that. And you right. But children ain't going to get fed with the money that I'm going to spend on this. So they just going to have to starve a little bit longer. You dig? I'm going to buy an obelisk to torment a statue. I'm going to get it. You can't buy it. I'm going to get it made. And it's going to cost a hefty price. And it's going to be something that motherfuckers is like, why would he buy that? It's going to depreciate. That's not something that's got value. And I'm going to say, bro, mind your wallet. All right? If I worked to be able to get to a point where I can use, this is why I don't get mad or I never comment on motherfuckers when they spend money on what they want to spend it on. Listen, do I agree with them flaunting it and shit like that? It's a matter of interpretation. What's flaunting it? Motherfucker post a picture of his cars. One time, motherfuckers think he bragging. I don't care if he posts a picture of his cars 1 billion times. If he worked for it, if she worked for it and got it, salute to him. My advice would be, stop following the account if that's all they post and you pissed off about that. I truly believe it all come down to people who don't have it hate the people who do have it. And the people who do have it, well, it's not even that they hate that they have it. It's that they hate that they have it. But it's not necessarily that they hate that they have it, even though it is people like that who just hate that somebody got something that they don't have. But at the end of the day, I think it's more so for some people. Not for those people who ain't just, oh, I hate rich people. But it's more so, I hate rich people who brag about being rich and show off all the things that come with them being rich. You see, I'm not that type of person. More so than not, for one, I don't pay attention to that type of shit, to other people's lives most of the time. But when I do see people post, or when I see a post of something that, like, because the shit that gets me is like houses, like nice interior to houses and shit like that. Like, I saw a picture the other day with like a washroom mixed with a bathroom. Like, the shit was lit. Now, I don't know if I want a wash machine and dryer in my bathroom. I'm going to be a band with you. I don't know if I'm with that. But I don't know, because the picture that I saw of the bathroom was pretty lit. And the brown, walls and the lighting. The shit was amazing. I ain't gonna stunt with you. And I see people post shit like that, and I'm like, damn, I gotta get to a point in my life one day where I can do something like that to my house. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people should use that as motivation, to be completely honest with you. You know what I'm saying? Stop hating. But listen, how the fuck are we doing today? Yo, I gained another subscriber. I never talk about the subscribers that I have, but I appreciate all 9 of you motherfuckers. And if it's more about a point in time that people hear this, I appreciate all of you. Because I understand that I do not talk too much about subscribers and subscribe and follow and share and all that type of shit. But you know, I appreciate the motherfuckers who listen, who follow, who share, and all that good shit. You know what I'm saying? When we blow up and the channel is, morphing into what I want it to become, it's gonna be big. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be big. Just stick with me, grind with me, follow me, watch the evolution. You know what I'm saying? So when I become big time, I can say, oh, he changed, he sold out, and I'm like, nah, baby, I bought in. But listen. We got a lot of shit to talk about. I'm posted. This is not gonna necessarily be the draft recap part 2. Because when I do that part, it's going to be more so about the Panthers. This is not necessarily about the Panthers, even though this could morph into a draft part 2, but I'm not going to be sure about that to the end of the show. So just vibe with me. I do want to start off, though, talking about, but dead ass, bro, before I get to that, to hop back to this Obelisk the Tormentor statue, bro. You don't got to understand it, bro, because I want an Obelisk the Tormentor statue, a Ring Dragon of Ra, a fucking Slyther, and a Dark Magician statue in my house somewhere, bro. Dead ass, bro. You can hate on it all you want to, like, oh, this dude's wasting money, oh, this dude's a goof. Facts. You might as well get ready to go into the comment section and be like, oh man, there's children in Africa starving. Don't know why y'all like to say children in Africa, but that's neither here nor there. Listen, though, I want to talk, because today, big Baker Mayfield show, big Baker Mayfield show. So obviously, as you know, Baker Mayfield has not lived up to the first pick in the draft all those years ago. Has not been anywhere near the best quarterback in that draft. Has not been anywhere near. Bro, if you compare him to 2 of the quarterbacks that are legitimate franchise quarterbacks, and Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, he is nowhere near as good as those 2. And neither of those 2 were first picks in that draft. So, with Baker Mayfield, when you draft a quarterback, I keep saying people make excuses for Baker, but when you draft a quarterback with the first pick in the draft, like the very first pick, and it is a quarterback, you expect, not to mention that any player that you draft with the first pick, but a quarterback especially, you draft him with the hopes that that's going to be your franchise quarterback, that's going to be the dude that take this franchise into the next, that lead the franchise for the next decade plus, right? That is not what's happened with Baker Mayfield. And I don't understand, but people do keep making excuses for him. But this is what I say. The man had Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, great running. Like, he had the best running back duo in the NFL for multiple years. Couldn't get it done. Best offensive line in football for multiple years. For 2 years at least. Couldn't get it done. Great receiving core. You motherfuckers told me that Odell was a problem. You get rid of him, then you start telling me that the receiving core is trash. Jarvis Landry played phenomenal all his years in Cleveland. The man get hurt towards the back end of it. You make no excuses for him. You tell me that he trash, but Baker Mayfield got an injury that he caused, and all his bad plays excused because he got a bad labrum in his non-throwing arm, or shoulder. So it's just, it's really wild to me, the excuses that y'all make for a dude that was drafted first overall. Now, when I look at Cleveland, people can say all they want to about Cleveland, but ever since that new GM took over and he got in this dude, the new head coach, Andrew Stefanski, and all this organization been trending in the right direction. This team did not just leave Baker, because people like to compare him to all these other Cleveland trash cans. And my argument to that would be, those Cleveland trash cans, or let me be respectful, all those quarterbacks that came before Baker and all, like, for one, I don't like comparing bad, like, trash can to trash can, which shit stink the worst. Like, I hate that type of argument. But to me, I don't even like comparing it, just not even for that. For the same, it's not just that, but it's also, bro, those quarterbacks probably would have had a better chance of winning too if they had this regime of Cleveland. Like, yo, you can't just, because this is a different Cleveland regime. Like, I don't like that people keep trying to bank this Cleveland regime into all the other Cleveland, especially when you know this is a bad franchise, historically. This new regime, they might not have, because I see people give Baker a lot of credit for that playoff one, even though Ben Roethlisberger had more to do with this Browns winning that playoff game than Baker did. So it's crazy to me that people give him credit for winning that game, but not the new regime for building a team to get to the playoffs for the first time in however many years, and for building a team that won a playoff game for the first time in how many years. Like, it's real odd that that's not attached to that organization, but it's attached to Baker, a dude who this regime did not even draft, but they keep doing everything. They continue to do everything possible to put pieces around Baker for him to be successful. Baker Mayfield couldn't do it down the stretch in games. He couldn't do it when the game was on the line. He did not make the plays when he had the ball last against when Baker had the ball last and the game was on the line, could not get it done for you. Motherfucker couldn't even get you in field goal position when all you needed was a field goal to win the game or tie. So you keep making all these excuses for Baker, and you keep blaming Jarvis, Odell, the running backs, the coach, the organization. And I just think that it's a fight back with every or a rebuttal or a refute with all of that. Like, I understand Cleveland is a bad organization historically, but this haven't been that same organization for the past since Andrew Berry and these dudes took over. It has been completely different. These dudes have ran the organization like adults, as if they know what they are doing. They have put together a phenomenal collection of talent, and I argue that if they had had Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback of this team the past couple years, this team would have been in the Super Bowl or would have won one. Or damn sure would not. I know for a fact they would not be missing the playoffs. Like, it's no chance. And then the fact that Baker Mayfield need everything to go right for him. The reality is, as an NFL quarterback, everything is not going to always go right. Most of the time, everything is not going to go right. Baker Mayfield is not a dude who, when you have to go out, and I say this about Jared Goff all the time. Bro, when Jared Goff is like, when you have a script for Jared Goff on, first I want you to pass it here, hand it off, then you're going to go right there, then you're going to go right there. When he can go stick to the script, and it's a good script, Jared Goff is flawless. I would love Jared Goff to work for me because I know he is going to follow directions to the T. It's all on, like, if you give Jared Goff a script and it's a great script, Jared Goff going to do for you what he need to do. However, if at any point in time that script begin to not work or the script run out, you're probably not going to win, because Jared Goff is not a guy who can operate without, like, that's why it was crazy when people used to say Sean Payton is always in Jared Goff's ear telling him what to do and who gonna be open and shit like that, because that's not what you want a coach to have to do for his quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And so Jared Goff, if he got to go off script and do shit on his own, yeah, he can make a play every once in a blue moon, but most of the time it's all bad. I think the same for Baker, basically. Not to mention, I don't even think Baker got a stronger arm than Jared Goff. And I don't think he is as accurate as Jared. Let me put it like this. When Jared Goff is playing well, I do not think Baker Mayfield, when he is playing well, is better than Jared Goff. Because Jared Goff, while I do think Jared Goff and these, the schemes that they draw for him is a lot of check downs and receiver screens and shit, there's times where Jared Goff can go up and down the field and put beautiful passes in the air. I'm not saying Jared Goff is a good quarterback. I'm just saying he be having his moments where it's like, fuck, this is why the Rams had paid him at one point in time. Baker Mayfield in his best, it's never him. Like, literally, go look at some of Baker's best games. Like, I know y'all gonna pull up his absolute best passing game, which is funny because I need to go back and watch it because I guarantee you it's a lot of checkdowns and shit and short routes that got picked up with the yak yards. That's what you always gotta look at. Look at those yak yards in Baker games. But on top of that, go look at Baker's best games per se. Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb usually dominating. Usually a great play action plays is being drawn up by Stefanski with the rollouts and shit. Because Baker Mayfield ain't breaking down a defense and shit like that. He need a script also. That's why I don't think he and Jared Goff are too different. That's why I thought that, honestly, the Lions was going to go after Baker. But I think somebody in the Lions organization is starting to grow up a little bit in the sense that I don't think that they think Jared Goff is the answer. I really don't. I just think that it's going to be hard to trade him right now. So maybe they're trying to hold on to him for like 1 or 2 more years to see what they can get out of him. Because I don't think they're getting a Super Bowl out of him. But I also think they know they ain't getting a Super Bowl out of Baker Mayfield. And hey, listen, maybe they smarter than I gave them credit for. Because I surely thought Dan Campbell would hop at the opportunity to get Baker Mayfield. Clearly that is not the case. Now, I do believe it's a couple teams that next year could be in the running for some of these quarterbacks that are going to be highly they're going to be highly scouted more so than the ones that was drafted this year or in the draft this year. I think next year will be a bigger quarterback draft. Like, people will want more of those quarterbacks. But listen, if these quarterbacks in this draft, if even one of them end up becoming a stud, then people going to regret letting these dudes fall this far. Because it was teams at the top of the draft who could have drafted a quarterback, who could have, you know what I'm saying, taken a quarterback over a player that they possibly taken. But, we shall see. But the Lions, like I said, give them credit because I really did think the Lions was going to eventually make a move for Baker, but they didn't. And they didn't draft a quarterback in the draft, which tells me that they weren't confident on trying to they didn't want to gamble on prospects that they didn't think could be even decent for them. Or maybe they just not trying to draft for decent, which I appreciate. So, now, if this is really them going all in on Jared Goff, that's wild to me because Dan Campbell and that team is not, and his staff are not better than Sean McVay. So if Sean McVay and that Rams team couldn't get Jared Goff to the promised land, and you think you can, to me, that is insane. That to me is fucking insane. But we should see. I saw somebody say that the Lions is coming up in this. Listen, I like the Aiden Hutchinson draft pick. I think that the Jaguars will regret not drafting Aiden Hutchinson. But listen, sometimes in sport, this type shit happens where Aiden Hutchinson is from Michigan, grew up there, went to Michigan, drafted by the Lions. You know what? Hey, hometown guy. This is perfect. However, I do think that the Jaguars should have drafted this dude. Listen, maybe Trayvon Walker ended up becoming a stud. I understand that Georgia's defense had a lot of studs on it this year, even though I still don't believe that Georgia defenders are as a hit. All those dudes at Georgia that was studs for Georgia, guarantee is going to be a dude from Alabama in this draft that end up being better than all of them because Alabama breed monsters. But listen, I was listening to Shannon talk about this, and this was wild to me when he said, because I don't watch college football. But if I'm going into this process and you got Walker who got 9 sacks in 3 years, Aiden Hutchinson had more than that last year, that is a problem. It is no fucking way I'm drafting Walker before I draft Aiden Hutchinson. This is what I'm saying when I say some of these some of these organizations who, post to scout these dudes are just fucking idiots and don't know what they're doing. Because it's no way. Like, tell me how Aiden Hutchinson can do what he did in college for these couple years, and when come time to draft him, you draft a dude who produced in 3 years what Aiden Hutchinson did in 1 year. Like, come on, man. 3 seasons for one dude was one dude's season. Like, come on, man. And he got in that and the dude with the and Walker is the one who got drafted first. Like, that makes no sense. Like, that's what I'm saying. This is why you got to pray for Trevor Lawrence, man. You really got to pray for him because, I like Doug Peterson. And so you get Doug in the offseason. You make a couple offseason moves. Maybe you pay too much for a receiver. I'm not the one writing the checks, neither is y'all. So who truly gives a fuck? I mean, fans be acting like they the ones writing the checks. But this move right here, man, to me, this really sets you back. Because maybe this dude end up being a beast. And if he do, then, hey, this gonna all be wrong. But if Aiden Hutchinson end up becoming the better player, let's say both of them end up becoming great, but Aiden Hutchinson still become a far better player, bro, then you gonna regret this trade because you're gonna regret this pick because the only way you don't regret this is if not only this dude become better than Aiden Hutchinson, but it cannot be close. It can't be like a hair type thing. He have to straight up be the better player. And it can't be like for 1 or 2 years. Aiden Hutchinson don't have to be a bust, but he cannot be better than this kid. Or you will regret this trade this draft pick. Because like I said, I saw Shannon and I was hearing people talk about this and I was like, what the fuck? What? And just to be honest with you, bro, this is really why I do understand why college players do this shit where they be like, yeah, I'm sitting out this season, I'm getting ready for the NFL draft. Because in the back of their minds, I'm pretty sure they like, yeah, this draft, this tape don't really fucking matter ultimately, to be honest with you. I mean, because a dude can go to the combine and, have some crazy measurables just because he's an athlete and end up shooting up the draft. Like, we see it every year. So, dude can run some crazy-ass 40 and he can shoot up the draft board. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, dudes will regret not drafting Kyle Hamilton if he ended up becoming a stud because people didn't get him just because of speed. Which is wild that a safety could be punished for speed. Because how many safety... For one, what defense... I mean, to me, no good defense is leaving safeties just in a position where they have to use speed, where speed is something that's going... You know what I'm saying? Most great safeties not putting themselves in a bad position where it's a speed type shit. I understand you be seeing cheetah and certain motherfuckers run past the safety in the back, but usually that's still bad coverage happening. That's not a dude, you know what I'm saying, you get caught flat-footed or something like that. Ultimately, though, I'm pretty sure it's some of the best safeties probably was nowhere near as fast as certain dudes. That, I don't know, speed to me shouldn't matter as much for a safety. For a receiver, sure. I mean, and I really don't care too much about, I don't need my receiver to be a track star. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he fast, great, and I don't want him to be stupid slow, but Anquan Bolden wasn't a track star. So what? Larry Fitzgerald wasn't a track star. So what? Anyways, though, back to Baker Mayfield. This leaves Baker in a interesting situation. Because where does he go? So, before the draft, everybody was talking about maybe Carolina was going to trade for him. That's not going to happen now. That's not going to happen. Carolina ended up drafting Carroll in the draft. So, he's not going to Carolina. He's also not going... So, what the fuck? Excuse my language. He also not going to Atlanta. I knew he wasn't going to Atlanta anyways because they had got Marcus Mariota, but I don't believe in him as a starting quarterback, so he is clearly a bridge quarterback. So, I mean, it was a chance he could have went to Atlanta, but I don't think that's happening now because they got Desmond Ridder, so that's out of the question. So, Carolina gets Carroll. Boom, that's out. Atlanta get Ritter. That's out. Tennessee. Now, I didn't think he was going to Tennessee either. But, because Ryan Tannehill's contract for one. But, I mean, I knew he wasn't going to Tennessee off of a trade because Tennessee ain't paying that and paying Ryan Tannehill. It's no shot. The only way he was getting to Tennessee was if he was released. However, now they got Malik Willis. That's out of the picture. Obviously, he ain't playing for Cleveland. That's out of the picture. People was talking about him going to the Steelers, but the Steelers ended up drafting Kenny Pickett, so he's not going to the Steelers. That's out of the question. No team was willing to trade any type of draft compensation for Baker, which is smart because why would you? Cleveland cannot keep Baker Mayfield for too much longer, or they got to pay a contract. And you don't want to be paying Baker that and paying Deshaun what you paying him. But listen, it feel like they're going to have to bite that bullet and end up releasing him and paying whatever they got to pay him. But even now, who the fuck is he going to go to? The only team that is left in my... Because he wanted to go to the Colts. They get Matt Ryan. Like it's no team out there left except the Seattle Seahawks. That is the only team. Because the Texans are going in with Dougie Mills or whatever his name is. So that's out of the question. Plus, I think Carolina, even though if I'm Carolina, I'm very interested in this draft pick for the simple reason. I'm going to talk more about Carolina's draft in the next draft episode. What's interesting about Carolina's draft of this quarterback is I thought that I didn't really think Carolina should have drafted a quarterback. This is why. I also don't think they should have went out and got Baker Mayfield. Like, it's smart that they didn't get him. This is why I'm saying I wouldn't got it. And they didn't draft him high enough to really say, oh, that was a bad pick, to be honest with you, because I think they got him in the 3rd round. But this is why I probably wouldn't have got a quarterback if I'm Carolina. For one, probably not competing in that division this year with the Bucks and with the Saints. Mind you, the Saints just got Tyrann Mathieu. And they drafted a receiver in the draft to help Jameis and Michael Williams, who should be back this year, like Alvin Kamara should be like this. The Saints are going to be a team to compete with. That's going to compete in that division. So I think the Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers already got that division on lock. So now you got the Falcons, who I also think are a better team than the Panthers right now. Even though I do not like the quarterback situation, I think the Falcons are a better team on paper, right? Now, I don't even know if I wrote it down on paper if it'd be the better team. I just think the Falcons will end up being the better team this year than Carolina. Not that it'll matter that much. But because I think Carolina will be competing for the 4th or 3rd spot in that division this year, I didn't really think it was necessary to draft a quarterback for the simple reason. And listen, I don't endorse tanking. I don't. But if you are a bad team, because the only people who benefit from tanking is the organization and fans. That's it. And you don't really, the only reason fans benefit is if you get a great player off of the tanking. But the players who have to go out there and play, they could lose their job off of tanking, as can coaches. Like, this shit go on tape and it go on resumes. So I'm never going to endorse tanking. But when you trot Sam Darnold out on the field every Sunday, you should already know that you're probably not winning more than 4 or 5 games. Knowing that fact, Carolina should know that they're going to be in the running for one of these great quarterbacks next year, because there's a great chance they will be one of the top 5 picks in the draft next year. Possibly number 1. If there was ever a time to... Listen, bro. I'm going to just fucking say it. I already said I don't endorse tanking. But when you is in absolutely no other... Like this, tanking really won't do shit because your team already is bad. So, I mean, shit. You might as well go ahead full... And listen, I don't think that tanking should be punished. I don't think players should be punished for the tanking. And aside from the one thing that's really killing the team. Like, if you got a bunch of players on defense out there that's, like, bad, obviously that, that's Because I always say, like, you can tank and still look good when you tanking. It's just some of these teams tank and they like legit bad because they just put bad play. It's like baseball. The Reds, they trade away most of all their great players, so they look bad. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to tank when you get rid of all your good players. It's any given Sunday in the NFL, yeah, I get that. People say that shit. But listen, the Panthers, to me, are clearly a real... Because to me, it's a little bit different from rebuilding and tanking. When you are a team that's rebuilding and you... I mean, just look at the Panthers, bro. Look at the Panthers. Like, that is a fucking team that is going to be competing for a top 5 spot next year in the draft. They might as fucking well go all in to go get one of those good quarterbacks next year. This is why I did not think they necessarily should have taken a quarterback in the draft. They could have used that pick on somebody else, because I think they should be competing for a top pick in the draft next year. Like I said, I don't want to endorse tanking. More so, it's not necessarily that I don't want to endorse tanking, because I actually think tanking is a part of sports. Like, tanking can be a good part of sports. The problem that comes from tanking is when people start to lose their jobs because of it. That's what I don't agree with. However, when you tank and you change coaches because you're ready to reset the culture, I get that. I have no problem with a team that tank and reset the whole culture when they get the dude that they was tanking for, or get the woman that they was tanking to get. I get that. I'm going to be honest with you. It's the tanking that the 76ers did that threw everybody off, because they was tanking for multiple years. Great teams only need to be bad for like 1 or 2 years to get great draft picks. It's like people go at Bill Belichick for all his bad draft picks like in the last couple years, but you forget that the motherfucker is not a bad team. His team's never bad enough to have a top pick in the draft to knock out the draft every year. Now, I understand people say, well, look at the Ravens. They always get great. Well, listen. You can't compare everybody to each other. I'm just telling you the situation. Listen, the Ravens, as good as they are, yeah, we draft late, but we ain't drafting as late as the Patriots on most years in the past. You know what I'm saying? So, and yes, Bill Belichick could have made some better picks in the past, but still, I'm just saying, the man do have... Hey, listen, motherfucker got 5 championships, bro. It is what it is. I know in today's society, it's a what have you done for me lately type of society. So motherfuckers be like, oh, fuck them championships. He won those years ago. But he still got those things in the holster. So, you know what I'm saying? They not going nowhere. But when excuse me. I want to hop, obviously. I want to hop back to Baker again. Because I told you, big Baker show. Because I'm really interested in where this motherfucker end up going to. And the Seahawks, to me, seem to be the last option. And I know I cut off what we were just talking about, but it's because got to stay Baker focused. But the Seahawks, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to go into the season with Drew Lock and Geno Smith. It's hard for me to see that. The thing is, what if they... So we're talking about tanking. What if the Seahawks feel Baker's not getting us? Because I just can't be mad. I understand Skip Bayless might think it's wild that nobody want Baker Mayfield. But just based off of what Baker Mayfield is, a below average quarterback, I can see why a team would say I don't see the need to risk the money or the headache to go get Baker Mayfield when we know what he is. Point blank, period. And so, if the Seahawks don't go get him, it really will not shock me. Because just like I talked about the Panthers, the Seahawks just got rid of damn near every good player on their team. If the Seahawks trade DK Metcalf, bruh, that's a team that can strategically tank to try to get a quarterback next year. And they wouldn't even have to waste their time with Baker Mayfield. I'm just telling you. Because why would anybody go get Baker Mayfield? Like, why would anybody... Obviously, the teams who drafted the quarterback's not going to get him. But why would any of the other teams that might need one go get him? What has he shown to make you say, yeah, let's go give Baker a shot? And like I said, if you're a team that's trying to actually win and not trying to pay for mediocrity and just to be average every year, it's a smart move not going for Baker. Dead ass, to me, Baker Mayfield is a backup quarterback now. To me, that is what Baker Mayfield is about to be. He should have took that contract that the Browns offered him a couple years ago, because he would still be the starter right now. If he had to take taken that contract, I do not believe that they would have went after Deshaun Watson. I truly believe that. Not to mention, if he takes that contract, he can sit out next year, last year, with the security to know I'm gonna be back next year because they already done paid me. He didn't. And now he find himself in this situation. This is when betting on yourself goes wrong. And like Chris Paul said, that shit went south quick. I'm just telling you, listen. Baker Mayfield is a backup quarterback now. That is what he will be paid, like a backup quarterback after the Browns get done paying his guaranteed money. And once he is released, I think he will be competing to be a backup. It just is what it is. And what's crazy is it's really no other teams out there, aside from the Seahawks, that could possibly make sense him going to. Like I saw a report that said the Panthers could possibly still try to get Baker Mayfield. That's a lie. That's as big a lie as the fucking report I saw tonight. I saw a report on Twitter that said Rudy Gobert went to the organization, the Utah Jazz organization, and basically told them that he is at the it's him or me point, where he told them that it's either Donovan Mitchell or it's me. It is no fucking way that is true. How do they get these reports, bro? How do they get these reports, bro? Like, how do they get these reports, bro? Who making these shits up, bro? Like, who making these shits up? It's no way Rudy Gobert went to the organization and said, hey, yo, you either trading Donovan Mitchell, the franchise guy, or you trading me. It's no way. It's no way, because that's basically him going to the organization and saying, trade me. That's basically what he's saying. Like, it's no shot Rudy Gobert went to the organization and said, I believe he went to him and said, can I get traded? I believe it's a possibility he could have done that. It's no way he went to them and said, you either trading me or Donovan Mitchell. It's no shot. It's no shot. And I'm not taking a shot at Rudy Gobert, but I'm telling you, Rudy Gobert is not in a position to be telling that you... Bro, no fucking dude goes to the team and says you either trade the franchise guy or you trade me. Maybe Kyrie, but nobody else does that. Everybody else just says, can you trade me? Nobody is saying you trade LeBron James or you trade me. That's insane. I don't even think Kyrie would do that. That is insane. Like, Rudy Gobert did not do that bullshit. It's no way. Like, what the... Where the fuck did that report, bro? Like, who come up with shit like that? And Rudy Gobert even tweeted, like, I don't know who come up with these rumors, or whatever the tweet was basically like, yo, I think Rudy Gobert was basically confirming, I did not say that. I did not do that shit. Like, that's insane. I do want to say, though, where the fuck is Donovan Mitchell going to end up going? Because Donovan Mitchell should be the one going to the organization telling them motherfuckers, listen, trade me or you find some way. He need to give them the Kawhi Leonard treatment that Kawhi Leonard told the Clippers. Yo, you get Paul George or I'm signing with the Lakers. He need to tell them motherfuckers, yo, you bring me over a superstar or another star player to help us win or I'm leaving. Straight up. We already know that stars can leave. There's no two ways around it. If Donovan Mitchell requests a trade, he will be traded within the next year and a half. meaning he will be traded within the next season and a half. He might not get traded the next season, but he will be traded the season after that if he truly want to be traded. It's just the reality of the beast, and I'm actually happy that that happens in the NBA, because what is happening to Donovan Mitchell is not cool. I do not like seeing great players get stuck in stupid or in bad, unwinnable situations where it's a ceiling. There is a ceiling on Utah. Not to mention, this was always going to happen to Utah. Because like I keep saying when I talk about Utah, why would you change those fire-ass jerseys and those fire-ass bright, vibrant colors to this bullshit? You darken the colors. You darken the court. Like, what is this? Like, who is the head department? Who is the lead in the department who handle this type shit? Yo, this is ridiculous. Like, yo, change the jerseys back to the light purple and the blues and the, you know what I'm saying? Go back to the nice jerseys, bro. And you know what's crazy? Utah is a franchise with a ceiling because they done had great players throughout their franchise's history, and they done been a competitive team throughout the franchise's history. Like, I remember Karolinko, Boozer, Williams, all those great players in that great Utah teams. But this, to me, for one, this Utah team to me has always been shocking how far they go, because I've never thought this Utah team, talent-wise, was a top team in the West, even though they perform like it at times, and in past years their records might have said so. To me, this is why people say the season don't matter at times, because, and really the season, this only happens because players sometimes play and act as if the season don't matter, which I also can't be mad at them at times, because it's 82 fucking games. You think baseball players is playing hard throughout that entire season and they play 160 something games? You think they going nuts every single, you know what I'm saying? I guarantee you they can have a bad game here or there and could care less, because they know they have a shit ton of games in the season. So I'm not mad at an NBA player for not going as hard, or maybe resting 1 or 2 games out of 82 fucking games, bro. But the Utah Jazz, you know, they play hard throughout the season, and maybe that do lead to them having a better record sometimes. But to me, it's always been shocking when they end up as one of the better teams record-wise, because I just don't think that this roster for Utah is that great compared to some of the other rosters. Like, you got Joe Ingles, who they been playing bad since they lost Joe Ingles. And that's no disrespect to Joe Ingles, but Joe Ingles on any of these other teams is legitimately just a sharpshooter from a corner or something like that. Jordan Clarkson, who I like, on another team, he might not work on a championship team based off of how he play. You got, I mean, Donovan Mitchell is really, and to me, Jordan Clarkson, and you say Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert is really a blindside defender and a rebounder. He really not. On championship teams nowadays, Rudy Gobert would be on the bench against certain teams, because teams go small a lot nowadays, and they wouldn't have him on the bench, and they wouldn't have him on the court. Not to mention, I just looked at Phoenix and DeAndre Ayton. Mind you, DeAndre Ayton's getting a bag in the offseason. Phoenix would be stupid not to pay that man. But Rudy Gobert, I don't care how good a defender he is, that motherfucker can't do what DeAndre Ayton doing. That's who I want to pay and help my team. I'm not building around DeAndre Ayton, because I don't believe in building around a center in 2022 NBA. However, that is a great piece to have on a team, especially when you have, because I'm gonna tell you what's crazy. If Rudy Gobert played with Chris Paul, or a point guard like Chris Paul, you would see his value. Or Draymond Green, because they are the type of players who can get a Rudy Gobert multiple shots, multiple looks. They can have him engaged throughout the entirety of a game. They'll only have him 90% of the time he will be in a situation for success. However, and especially if he played with Chris Paul. Like, if he played with Chris Paul turned DeAndre Jordan into an all-star. Like, DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin have not been anywhere near the players they were when they had Chris Paul. Like, Chris Paul is Viagra for careers, bro. I'm just telling you what it is. Give that man some respect. The two greatest point guards this generation has seen. This generation is Steph Curry and Chris Paul, and it ain't close. And that's why I'm not putting anybody else near those two. However, if you look at what Chris Paul does with centers and whatnot, he would be phenomenal with a Rudy Gobert. However, because the Utah Jazz don't run that type of hold up. Something was on my tongue, bro. I don't think that Rudy Gobert is properly utilized all the time in Utah. He is not a huge part of the offense. And like I said, Utah is in a situation where he's the second best player. So I hear people saying, oh, you should draw plays for him. But in this 2022 NBA, you really don't want to be drawing up plays for a fucking center that really is not a scorer like a Joel Embiid or Karl Anthony Towns. Or, like I said, DeAndre Ayton, which I think DeAndre Ayton would be getting more recognition as one of the best centers in the game, if not for the fact he played with Chris Paul and Devin Booker. But it take a player like Chris Paul to help unlock a DeAndre Ayton, because DeAndre Ayton can go to wherever he know he want to go to get his shot off, and he can have faith that Chris Paul gonna get him that ball. That's why I hope that the Phoenix Suns is learning from Chris, because I understand Chris Paul is getting older. He's not going to be able to do what he's doing right now forever. And I just pray that Phoenix is learning from what Chris Paul is doing, and they got somebody learning behind him. Because obviously you'll take a step back when you lose Chris Paul, but you don't have to go back to being a bad Phoenix Suns team. And it's so funny because I remember Draymond Green tweeting, get Devin Booker out of Phoenix. And literally that year and since, they done been a great team. Keep that motherfucking Phoenix. But obviously Chris Paul is not going to be on Phoenix at some point in time. So I hope that they learning everything. They soaking up all this knowledge from him. Because they seem to be a team that don't just appreciate the winning that Chris Paul bring to the team, but they also appreciate the lessons and all this different type of shit. They seem to be one of the few teams that Chris done played for that actually vibe with Chris. Because obviously you heard the reports all the time about Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan not liking Chris Paul, and then DeAndre not liking Chris Paul. It felt like, and obviously OKC was a weird situation because it was a lot of just young players that was nowhere near as good as the players that's on Phoenix. Devin Booker could easily have an ego like a James Harden had and get Chris Paul out of there when things ain't going right. But his faith in Chris Paul, his want to learn from Chris Paul, his respect for Chris Paul, that's why you see the Suns succeed right now, and why you see James Harden basically go through what he done been through, because he wasn't willing to stick it out with Chris Paul. And I always say about this is one of the things that always rocked me on the James Harden situation, bro. Go look at how Chris Paul played when he played in Houston. Chris Paul legit took a step back and did not play like the point guard that Chris Paul played like when he was with James Harden. He legit let James Harden be James Harden. And that still wasn't good enough. I've never seen Chris Paul take the step back on a team that he took back when he went to Houston. I'm almost certain if you ask Chris Paul what was some of his worst experiences, Houston gotta be on the list, because that completely changed how Chris Paul played basketball. Yeah, it turned him into more of a scorer, but he was not Chris Paul 100% of the time playing the way Chris Paul played. As soon as he get out of Houston, he back to playing like Chris Paul. And what did he do? He got OKC to the playoffs, almost got him out of the first round. Then he get the Phoenix Suns to a championship. To me, Chris Paul, bro. And all people always like to talk, oh, people don't like Chris Paul. Chris Paul was the problem. All right. It just seemed like these dudes in Phoenix, man, they fuck with Chris. They love Chris. They vibe with Chris. They want Chris to be there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a difference between appreciating the wins he bring and not still fucking with him. Like, oh, we only like you because you bring wins. And it's a difference between, nah, we fuck with you regardless. We can be losing and we vibe with you, my guy. We want you here. Win, loss, draw, we want you here. We don't feel like we can win without you. You got these other dudes who be winning and feeling like, man, we could do this without Chris. You know what I'm saying? Like, the Phoenix Suns don't feel like they success with Chris done got to their heads and like, oh, we could be doing this without Chris Paul. You know what I'm saying? And I fuck with that. That's why Phoenix really look like the best team in the West. And you know I love Steph Curry. I'm the Golden State fan. Phoenix look like the best team in the West to me. Phoenix look like the best team in the NBA. The problem is Phoenix get a little, it's not that they play bad. It's just that every team do it where they just had these runs sometimes where it's like, what the fuck is going on? For Phoenix, it's a lot of missed shots at times and bad like turnovers and shit. But for the most part, like I'm looking at Phoenix against the Mavericks. Phoenix is just a far better team. For one, Chris Paul in the system over there. And that's why I feel like it's rubbing off. Because not only do Chris Paul got everybody passing the ball and shit like that. Like, not only is he passing the ball, but he got everybody else buying in. And everybody else make the extra pass and shit. That's what go on in Golden State. That's why dudes get open shots. And then other dudes get the open shots. Like the practice shots. Because of that extra pass, being willing to make that extra pass and buying into everybody having success. When you want your other dudes to succeed as much as you want to succeed, then you'll be successful. Shout out ET, even though that wasn't the quote. But that's to me why the Suns is so great. Like Cam Johnson going off, proud of UNC. Shout out Cam Johnson. You got Devin Booker, Ayton, Jay Crowder going 4 for 4 at one point in time in the game tonight from downtown. What's the other point guard who used to do all the dancing with Westbrook? You got Cam, I can't remember his last name, but you got him playing good. Like so many different dudes for the Suns step up all the time. Mikal Bridges, like it just feel like the Suns team, the drafting for one is paying off, but the leaders on the team buying into everybody being successful and whatnot. It just feel like this is a well-oiled machine. And so everybody talk about Golden State not being big and whatnot, right? And that's funny because I don't really think that matter against any of the teams in the playoffs except for two. Milwaukee and the Suns. Because they have two skilled big men who can score in the post. Now, I would say Embiid to a certain extent, but I just think that is a matchup that Draymond Green and the Warriors could end up ultimately winning. Like, I do believe Embiid could end up having a night where he go nuts, but I think over a 7-game series, that is the type of center that they could wear the fuck out of a 7-game series. Whereas Giannis Antetokounmpo, and who not just a big dude who play with his strength and whatnot, but he also athletic and play with that. And I understand Joel Embiid is an athlete, but Joel Embiid is also about fucking 50, 60 pounds bigger than most people he guard. For some reason, Draymond Green have a way of knowing how to approach those type of matchups. I'm not saying that Embiid wouldn't give him 30. What I am saying is Embiid would probably have to take 30 shots to get those 30 points. So to me, when I look at a dude like a DeAndre Ayton, look at how skilled of a scorer he is and how Chris can get him into his spots and whatnot. That, to me, would be a bigger problem for the Warriors than Joel Embiid. And then, obviously, a player like a Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is not just bigger than you, stronger than you, faster than you, can jump higher than you, but is also a skilled player at this point. Like, Giannis, to me, people keep saying, oh, he just a dunker. The motherfucker don't just dunk. Obviously, and I don't understand why that's a bad thing, because that used to be what got you into the league, right? Like, I don't get it. But to me, those are two teams that worry me the most. And not even, I think it's so tough because I think Giannis is the best player in the NBA, right? And I think the Phoenix is a better team than the Bucks right now because the Bucks don't have Middleton. Plus, I just think Phoenix is the better team. I still think that the Bucks could beat Phoenix and the Warriors. And I think they spank Memphis if they play them. I don't even think that'd be a competition, which is weird because I think Memphis can win this Golden State series. I don't think they will, but I think they can. The difference between Memphis in this series and Memphis in the last series, they played against a team that just haven't been there, haven't done that, took a lot of dumbass shots down the stretch when they was up. They take a big lead, and that to them means, okay, now we can just start playing reckless basketball, like park basketball and shit, because one of these shots there's no way we can blow this type of. That's not the type of team you're playing against. You're playing against a Warriors team that's done been down. I saw a stat the other day that said this like their 25th series winning a game on the road. That's insane. Like, this is a team that get down and know how to. You thought you was good at coming back against Memphis? This is a team that's been down in big games and know how to come back and win those games. Like, and the fact that Jordan Poole is becoming what he is becoming, oh man, I'm still not a fan of the Poole party because I think that's a singular type of thing. Because it's Jordan Poole's last name. When we're talking about three dudes, you can't make it just one name to try to identify those three dudes. That's insane. That's why I say the splash party is a better name for it. I like that. But you can't. It's like saying the Curry Bros when you describe Curry and Clay. No, motherfucker, it's the Splash Bros, bro. Like what? What? It's not a pool party. I even saw somebody address that today and say, bro, it's not a pool party. But I forgot to talk about when I was talking about the NFL, when we was addressing the NFL, because I'm gonna have to get back in the NFL, in the NBA in a second. But when we was addressing the NFL, I forgot to mention DeAndre Hopkins is suspended for the first either 6 or 7 games of the NFL season. I think it was 7, but I saw a report also. I think it said 6. It's one of them two fucking numbers for PEDs. I'll talk more about that on the next one. He put out a statement, and I didn't even read the statement because I didn't expect it. I knew I wasn't gonna really, go into deep detail about that because it had just popped up on my feed, and I was like, I already done planned out what I'm doing on the show, so I'm not finna throw that one in there. That's not something I'm gonna throw in there right now because I'm not finna do the research on that one. So I'll talk about that more when I get more research. But I do know he is sitting. He won't be playing for those first couple games. So that Marquise Brown trade looking even better now. Hopping back to the NBA though. This Memphis, not Memphis. I'm gonna get to Memphis in a second. But when I was talking about the two teams that, when I was talking about how Phoenix looked like the best team in the NBA to me, and I very well think that it could be Phoenix taking on my Milwaukee in the finals this year. The team that I want to get to the finals and win it is obviously the Warriors because I want Curry to get number 4. But when I look at the Warriors play as good as that, because I think the Warriors will get out of this series against Memphis because I do think Memphis do some dumb shit down the stretch of games and shit like that. And it's just funny to me when people was talking about, because the reason I had brought up Ayton and Giannis is because people talk about how the Warriors play small and they, get out rebounded. And it's just funny when you look at a team like Memphis, who's the best rebounding team in basketball, and look at what happened in yesterday's game. The Warriors do something that's so great that people don't talk about. And I understand the Warriors turn the ball over a lot, but in the crunch time, the Warriors are probably one of the best teams ever at making big time buckets and making key championship type plays. It just is what it is. That's why the Warriors are able to go into your building and beat you, even in crunch time. That's why the Warriors can go into your building, play as bad as they played, and beat you. The team that I fear, not necessarily fear, but I think could get the Warriors in 7 games is Phoenix. I think Phoenix could get them. The thing that's kind of got me iffy on Milwaukee is because I think the Warriors could let Giannis go for 50. As long as they beat them by 1 point, they'll be fine. The thing is, Milwaukee forced teams to take a lot of threes. Milwaukee do not want Golden State taking a lot of threes. Like, you might want Boston taking a lot of threes and getting Boston out of his element by doing what they did yesterday, but you do not want those sharpshooters on Golden State taking wide open threes. It's no shot. Fuck wide open threes. You don't want them shooting 30 threes because you feel like they will make the majority of them. So that'll be an interesting matchup if that happened. But to me, I hate to say this, even though I'm picking the Warriors to get to the finals, I do think logically, out of my just dropping my fandom, to me the Phoenix Suns is the best team in the West. To me, the Phoenix Suns look like the best team in the NBA. Every fucking time I look at the Phoenix Suns play, I say to myself, I really would be shocked if a team take 1 game off of them. Like, I think the only reason, and I think, bro, no, Ingram and them boys took 2 games off of them. But I only think that happened because of Devin Booker's injury. I think if Devin Booker was healthy, that would have been a sweep or a 4-game. I mean, that would have been a 5-game series. That would have been a gentleman's sweep. But when I look at a healthy Phoenix Suns team, I always tend to think, man, this team way better than this other team they playing. Like, every time you look at the team, like, damn, they so better. They out coaching this other team. Like, damn, they players is just better. Damn, they play better team ball than this other team. Damn, they best players really show up more than these other. Like, that's what I feel when I watch Phoenix. And it's times where, yeah, they have bad nights and they off here or there. It don't really feel like they put together full bad games. It feel like it's always parts and games of these Phoenix games where it just feel like they're the best team on the fucking floor. And so that's why I really think, after watching Phoenix handle Dallas tonight, now I changed the game before the fourth quarter, like I got off of that and started recording. So who knows what's going to happen by now. But, man, I'd be shocked if because Phoenix was up by like 20 when I had changed the channel. When I had left the game. So I would be shocked if Dallas came back. And it's no disrespect to Luka. They've won their first game since 2011. They won their first series, I think it was. I just don't think Dallas has anything for Phoenix. Phoenix, to me, is so... I'm going to be honest with you. If Phoenix don't win a championship this year, I'd be shocked. Like, I hear everybody trying to boost up Curry to take him down by basically saying, oh, there's no reason Curry shouldn't win a championship now. As if this fucking Phoenix Suns team and Giannis and them Bucks over there and Miami over there ain't three legit teams that can take him down. Because Memphis can take him down, too. It's not that Memphis is a better team, in my opinion, but I do think Ja wakes up to play against this team. It's just like Dame Lillard wake up to play this team. Might not beat the team, but they wake up to play these teams. But what I like about this is Curry never feel the pressure to overplay in these type of games. It don't feel like he missed a couple shots that he gonna hit. My thing with Memphis is, and I saw Ja basically twerking after a shot in the game. Ja and the Memphis Grizzlies do seem to be very disrespectful, and I told you I like it. I wouldn't do it probably because it feel like, I get not fearing the opponent across from you, but it is certain lines to me that's just straight up being disrespectful, and I do think Ja and the Grizzlies tend to, travel into that lane sometimes. But listen, hey, if they win, nobody gives a fuck. If they lose, then that's when people will be talking about it. But, my thing with here's my thing about the Grizzlies. I don't think Jaren Jackson's going to shoot the ball as good as he shot it. And he damn sure not going to hit the threes that he was hitting in that game one. Any more this series, I would contend. I would contend Jaren Jackson might not have another game like that for the next couple months of basketball play when the regular season start and the rest of this series. I would contend that because he shot the ball out of his mind. I would contend if some of the other players don't have the games, and then they still lost that game. So I'm not going to say it's going to be a sweep because I do think Memphis is going to take a game. But, man, this could be a gentleman's sweep because Memphis should have won that first game. And I'm not saying should have as in, oh, they got cheated. No. I'm saying like when the Warriors play that poorly, Steph struggled, Clay missed 2 game-sealing free throws at the end, and you still found a way to lose that after leading that game for most of the time. Yeah, that's a tough one. At home, yeah, that's a tough one. But that's why I always laugh when motherfuckers continue to try to tell me that Steve Kerr is a bad coach, because it takes a great coach and a great team and great players to be able to continuously go into another team's arena and get the dub on their home court. That's tough to do in a hostile environment. No Draymond Green in the second half of this game. Curry's leadership continues to shine through, man. Continues to shine through. Now, what's interesting about that Boston series was seeing how great... and I saw a stat that said the 2 best defensive point guards in the playoffs so far this year done been Steph Curry and Drew Holiday. So shout out to my guy, Steph Curry. And shout out to Nick Wright, who I think said a lot of goofy shit and a lot of times. And I always say stuff about him. So I might as well say something good about him when he actually say something legit. When he acknowledged this morning when Wilds tried to say that he was taking a shot at Curry. And he basically was like, no, I don't slander Curry. Curry actually works hard on defense. Curry actually tries on defense. And I respect that because I'm one of the people who get irritated. Listen, you got to understand, I watch a lot of Steph Curry. If Steph Curry was just blatant, just trash on defense, I give it to you. I've been watching Steph Curry for a couple years now. Actually try on. Listen, I remember when Steph Curry was getting hidden on defense and whatnot. Completely different from when Steph Curry is just smaller than some of the dudes he is defending. It's even been players who say it. Steph Curry was taking the challenge of defending James Harden, a dude who is bigger than him, using his body and not getting the calls, but James Harden was getting those calls, and he's still stepping up to defend those plays. Still was having defensive stops and big moments that nobody wanted to talk about because he scored a ball so great. And then he going on the other end and actually working on defense. And now for some reason, this is why I'm not a fan of people stat watching. Because like Ja Morant scored 34 points the other night, right? And it took him 31 shots to get those 34 points. Because I don't know why. I hear a lot of people talking about, oh, well, it took him 31 shots to get it. What I done heard more than that was people celebrating Ja. Because they don't care that he fucking took 31 something fucking shots. Because right now, Ja is not in that type of Steph Curry, LeBron type spotlight. Where every little thing they do gonna be nitpicked and nagged with. Like, I don't even know how Skip Bayless is allowed to talk basketball. The motherfucker get on TV and defend Baker Mayfield like he Tom Brady. And then the next segment be shitting on LeBron James and Steph Curry, two dudes who done been there, done that, proven they was some of the greats that's done it and successful on all levels. He still was shit on them. It's absolutely unbelievable to me, but I guess people enjoy that, and that's why they pay him to do that nonsense. But hey, it is what it is. But I'm not a fan of it. I was watching that shit today thinking to myself, yeah, I really don't like this motherfucker, man. Like, I really don't like that he done built the reputation off of being this. And then I saw a tweet that was like 87% of Skip Bayless's tweets is about LeBron James. Bro, that's a sad life, bro. I don't care how rich you are, bro. When you got somebody's penis that far down your throat, bro, that you're not even gasping for life, you enjoying it, that's a problem. Like, my man, breathe. But, hey, that's how he make his bands. Saying a bunch of nonsense about players who drive ratings. It just is, it is what it is. You see the Steph Curry commercial where he says Steph Curry sells. Yeah, Skip Bayless knows that. So he gonna trash motherfuckers who sell so he can get them ratings. And before I go, I want to say something else, bro. Because Ja Morant's dad, T. Morant, and how he been, getting a lot of coverage lately, which I like. I saw a tweet yesterday where a motherfucker tweeted, why is T. Morant getting so much spotlight? LOL. And I was like, I don't know why this ignorant motherfucker put LOL in there. Actually, yes, I do. He being serious, but he put LOL in there to try to lighten the blow. And a bunch of motherfuckers like that. And that just showed me that there's a lot of hating ass motherfuckers out there. Because why should he not be getting, recognition and praise? They love to talk about how black fathers is not there for their sons. But here's a black man who'd been in his child's life, done raised him to become one of the best point guards in the NBA, one of the best players in the NBA, and now it's a problem. The man not cursing, acting crazy, doing nothing outlandish or foolish on the side of the court, and that he not telling them to put the cameras on him. They making decisions to do that, and now it's a problem. And you want to know what irritates me even more? When it's black people that start to say something about that. Like, you cannot be serious. Now, for the record, it ain't a lot of black people who was doing it. But I will say something else that's really irritating to me. And there's nothing you can do about this. I just find it very irritating. How you got these troll accounts on Twitter, or you got these accounts that's like popular, I guess, and they run by white dudes who put black people as they profile pictures. Or you will never know they white unless you just know that person personally. And they talk like they black. They say they always talking on black topics. So everything they do make you think they black. I fucking hate those type of accounts, bro. On me, I hate those accounts. because I just think that's misleading, bruh. Dead ass. I really do. Because you addressing topics from a white person's point of view, but everybody thinking you black because your profile pictures is of black people. And then sometimes it's not even the athletes, it's like just stupid ass pictures. Twitter is a hell of a place. But with that, man, I appreciate y'all for joining me on another episode of Kicking It with Saint. This might as well be another draft. It really can't be a draft recap for the simple reason I really wasn't talking about the draft. I talked about different quarterbacks that was taken and whatnot, but I really didn't take a deep dive into the draft. But we will be going over all the first picks, all the picks in the first round. I have been asked to do a recap of the draft. That's going to be a long video. It's not even necessarily that it's going to be long. That's homework right there. That is homework, and I already done started. But yeah, that video, I'm not gonna promise that when that one gonna come out. It's gonna come out, but I don't know when it's gonna come out. But it's gonna come out. Bet you that. I know it'll come out before the season. I mean, it'll probably be out in the next couple weeks. It could be out by the end of this week. Who knows? It probably won't be out by the end of this week, honestly. It'll probably be out sometime next week, but don't hold me to it, to be honest with you. But with that, I appreciate you for joining me, man. Tell somebody you fuck with them. Tell somebody you love them. Give my Dukes a kiss. Dap up Pops. Kiss the kids. Have a dope fucking day. Tell somebody else to have a dope day. Do not tell the same person. If you tell the same person, that's cool. But then go tell somebody else. Spread the love. Saint out.
How the fuck I pay a couple card notes and ain't even whipping? How the fuck I'm putting food on the table while I ain't living? Cursed from being alone with these dreams of a happy home. So when I think it's really love, I give them anything they want. I got stupid shit I did as a kid defining me lately. When I try to open up a new chapter, they still hate me. My mental, my only drug, so I'm doing this shit alone. Last time I fought depression and she got me on my zone. One bad move from thuggery, hit record from luxury. Pop said some shit that stuck with me. All it take is a mustard seed. Yesterday I copped $40 of pot those. Homie in